So I was on a backpacking trip recently, and it occurred to me that some of my most favorite backpacking gear is gear that is really not that common. So I decided I would do a video and share those things with you guys. That means this video is going to be all about my top 5 favorite backpacking items, plus one more as an honorable mention. So let's get right into it, and these are going to be in no particular order, but I'll start off by talking about my hammock straps. These are the Python 10 UL straps from Hammock, and would you believe that inside this tiny little baseball-sized stuff sack, there are two 10-foot hammock straps with a weight capacity of 300 pounds. So that probably already gives you some idea of why I really like these things, but not only are they very strong and very compact, they are super lightweight. This thing only weighs 3.3 ounces, and that's for everything. That's the stuff sack and both hammock straps. At that weight, they're the same, if not even lighter, than some of the whoopee sling style hammock straps that are out there. So super light, but what I really like about these, if I can open this up and show you, is that it's not just some string or paracord or rope. These are actual hammock straps, and don't judge me for the way that I just haphazardly tossed these in the stuff sack the last time I used them. But I like these because it's still a daisy chain style hammock strap, which what I mean by that is that it's not just one loop on the end of the strap. You actually have loops all the way down this end of the strap. So instead of something that you have to tie off and then adjust to be just the perfect length, if you're familiar with the Atlas straps, the ones that have loops all the way down the strap, these are more along the lines of that type of design. So you have a loop connection point probably every 2 or 3 inches, I would say. So I just like that because it makes setting up your hammock so much faster. You don't have to really adjust anything. You just pick whatever loop is at the right length and slap your hammock carabiner on it and you're good to go. And on the other end, the end that actually wraps around the tree, you can see that it splits into 2 straps on this end. So that's just nice because it kind of increases the surface area. It gives you a little bit better grip around the tree, and it also prevents the strap from digging in and damaging the tree. So overall, I have really enjoyed these. Like I said, they're super light, and if you saw my recent review of the Grand Trunk Tech hammock, combining these straps with that hammock, my entire hammock and strap setup is under a pound. So I've been super happy with these. As of the time of recording this video, they sell for $39, so that is a little on the pricey end as far as hammock straps go, but I think they're worth it, and I'll place a link in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself. The next item on my list is my Cocoon Silk Mummy Liner. I've had this for over 7 years now, so it's been put through the ringer, but other than getting dingy, it's held up well. You're probably familiar with sleeping bag liners that are made out of something like fleece, and they would typically add anywhere between 10 and 15 degrees, I would say, of warmth to a sleeping bag. This, however, is very thin. You can basically see through that. It basically doesn't really add any warmth. I just use it for comfort. It is super comfortable. I've just found that I sleep much better in this, especially in the warmer months. Here in Georgia in the summer, when you go to bed at night, it might still be 80 degrees Fahrenheit outside. When I first get in the tent, it is way too warm to actually get under my quilt or get in a sleeping bag. So at first, I'd just get in just this, and it seems to be just right for me to be able to be comfortable, not too hot, not too cold. So I'm in just this until probably sometime after midnight when the temperature finally begins to drop low enough to actually pull my quilt up over me. This only weighs 4.7 ounces. It's still what some would consider a luxury item, but it's definitely worth the wait for me for how well I sleep. It's not something that I expected to love as much as I do, but it's worth trying. I think it does sell for around $85, so it's definitely not the cheapest sleeping bag liner that you can find, but if you're looking for a good night's sleep, you should try it. Next up is my headlamp, and I've talked about this in previous videos on this channel, but I just really like this headlamp. It is the Nitecore NU20, and it just checks all the boxes for me for what I'm looking for in a headlamp. It is USB rechargeable, it's IPX7 waterproof, so I don't have to worry about it getting wet. It only weighs 1.8 ounces, so it's super lightweight, and that's with the stock headband. I know that some people replace this headband with something a little bit lighter. You could probably save about a ½ ounce or so by doing that. I think this headband is really comfortable, so I'm keeping it. The thing I really like about this that I wish every headlamp had, that is a little cover that covers over the power button, so you don't have to worry about this button accidentally getting bumped while you're hiking down the trail and then getting to camp just to find out that your headlamp's dead. When you first press the button, it comes on at just 1 lumen, so that's nice when you first turn it on in the middle of the night. You're not blinding yourself, but then it will go all the way up to 360 lumens, so it does have the brightness there if you need it. I like it, it works really well for me, and it sells on Amazon for about $30. The fourth item on the list is my water bladder. This is the HydroPack Seeker 3 liter. They also sell a 2 liter version of this bladder. I've had this for about 1.5 years now, and I've been so happy with it. It's turned me into a bit of a HydroPack fan, and I have since purchased multiples of the HydroPack collapsible water bottles, so I've been happy with it. I like that it has a 42 millimeter thread on the top, so it's nice and wide. I typically use this when I'm backpacking as my dirty water bag. With that 42 millimeter thread, the Be Free filter will thread directly onto that. They also sell a replacement cap that has a quick connect in the middle of it. So you can use that for like a hydration bladder hose to quick connect directly into that to either drink directly out of the bladder, or if you use a different type of water filter, you can use it basically in an inline setup with that cap. It has multiple connection points, so it has one on the top, one here, and then one here. I've been really happy with it. It's very strong, it's held up well, and it only weighs 3 ounces, so that's for the 3 ounces for the 3 liter version. I think the 2 liter weighs 2.6 or 2.7 ounces, so check that out if you're looking for a water bladder. The fifth item is my sleeping pad, and this is the Climate Insulated V Ultralight SL. It has an entire sentence for a name. This is an inflatable sleeping pad, which is why it's able to pack down so small, and it only weighs 15.8 ounces, and that's according to my scale, which all of the weights in this video are according to my scale. So that's why it says 15.2 ounces. According to my scale, it's 15.8, but that's still less than a pound for this sleeping pad, and it has an R value of 4.4, so pretty decent insulation. I've used it in sub-freezing temperatures before with a down top quilt, and I was plenty warm. I sleep really well on it, and I've also used it in some of these warmer months here in Georgia, and it still was not too hot. So I think that in the southeast, this is going to be a great year-round sleeping pad. And like I said, I just sleep really well on it, so that's why it has made its way into my favorites video. Now, it is a 72-inch long by 20-inch wide sleeping pad. I tend to not really roll around much at night, so I haven't had any issues with the pad only being 20 inches wide. If you do move around a little more, or you just prefer a wider pad, they also have the light version of this, so it's a little bit heavier, but it's a 23-inch wide instead of only 20 inches. And it's a pad thickness of 2.5 inches. Now this is also the new version of their pad. Climate did a big update to some of their sleeping pads last year at some point. So they upgraded the valve. So instead of their old valve, which this is their old style valve, it was this weird twist valve that stuck out pretty far from the sleeping pad, and it was never ideal. Always had some issues actually getting it to seal off properly. The new style valve, you can see it seals off almost flush with the sleeping pad, so no issues with that. And then once you pull the cap open, it has this one-way valve that you can flip to inflate, or you can leave it open or flip it over to deflate. it just works a lot better. It inflates really quickly, it's super lightweight, it's nice and warm, and I sleep really well on it. So it checks all the boxes of what I'm looking for in a sleeping pad, and it sells for $120 for this version. So that is my top 5, but like I said, I do have one honorable mention to show you guys, and that is my backpack. This is the Gossamer Gear G420. And the only reason that I say it's an honorable mention instead of being officially in my top 5 is that this backpack is still fairly new to me. I just purchased it a couple of months ago, so I don't have a ton of time with it yet, but I have been super impressed with it, and it has me wondering why more people are not using this pack. This backpack only weighs 24.4 ounces. It has a max carry load of 30 pounds, and it's 42 liters, but I'm gonna say that 42 liters goes a long way. It's a roll top, so when you open the whole roll top, you've got a ton of space in there. I do have a sleeping bag stuffed in there just to fill out the pack right now, but up here at the top, it has a zippered compartment. It's just a little sleeve inside there. Not a ton of space on the inside of that pocket, but it's just enough space for my toilet paper kit and my first aid kit. And it's nice because those are really the only two things that I may not use when I'm at camp. And if I'm not going to use it, it's nice that they can stay inside the backpack. So then on the back, we have a very large mesh pouch here, a ton of space for putting anything that might need to dry out. Then it has a deep side pocket on this side. That's nice if you have something longer, like either a shelter, or that's typically where I carry my backpacking tripod because I'm hiking with, 8 pounds of camera gear whenever I go. And then it still has a nice shorter pocket on this side, so you can put water bottles, and it's still short enough that you can easily reach around and grab one while still wearing the pack. And then what I really like about this pack, for as light as it is, it still has a full-sized padded hip belt. I've come to realize that for me, typically 20 to 25 pounds total pack weight is a good comfort weight for me. So at that weight, I'm still carrying a little bit of extra gear. So I'm carrying my tent, but I'm also carrying a hammock for lounging around at camp. I'm typically carrying, like I said, 7 to 8 pounds of camera gear. So having a full-size hip belt allows me to transfer a good bit of that weight to my hips. And it's just a much more comfortable hike. On that hip belt, they have a nice zippered pocket on this side, plenty of space there. And then on the other hip belt, if you can see this, it has a mesh pocket here. So the belt is very comfortable. The shoulder straps are nice and thick. They're very comfortable as well. And then I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a frameless pack. That's one of the reasons it's so light. So to give it some rigidity, they've added this foam pad here, and you can take this out when you get to camp and have a place to sit so you're not sitting directly on a rock or a log. The bag is made out of Robic nylon, which is very light, but it's also very strong. And it sells for $180, which is almost half the price of some of the other packs I've looked at with similar specs. So that's going to be it for my favorite backpacking items, but leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know what your favorite backpacking items are. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video.